We're on an epic journey today, and it's really special because we're celebrating 70 years of Land Rover, and we've come to this small little town called Manibanjang, close to Darjeeling. Have you ever heard of it? Well, I hadn't too before, but it's pretty famous, and it's because it has a whole load of Land Rovers. I mean, it's been amazing driving through this town. We've seen them on the left, we've seen them on the right, all over the place.
Absolutely, and we have what is extremely rare lightweight with us. This one was specially made for the army to drop it from helicopters. It's even lighter than the standard Land Rover. This is a Series 2A that has been modified. It's got aluminium panels just like the original, but it's got the same.
So that's aluminium has been in the history and the heritage from day one.
Right here too. And we've got the two, the new and the old together. It's going to be a great drive.
Now, with Shapur, it's always a fight. So when he relented to let me go in the lightweight first, I should have guessed it was too easy and something was up. The road that we were on is one that's used to carry cargo and people across to Nepal. And the reason that Land Rovers became so popular was that they were the only ones that could do this journey fully loaded. And you'll soon see why. Meanwhile, making my journey more interesting was a girl called Samantha, whose family owned this lightweight car that she was driving. So I'm beginning my epic journey in somewhat an epic way. I've got Samantha with me, and she actually has been driving this for 10 years, over 10 years. It's not normal in this region for women to drive, but her father and her grandfather encouraged her. And she does this crazy road and has been doing it for 10 years. Everything was so raw. No seat belts, no power steering, and the roar of the engine pretty much meant we had to shout to talk to one another. Squeaks and rattles told the story of a car that has done duty on this arduous road for almost 60 years now. With the car in low and the engine revving high, I was worried that this old workhorse might overheat. But it just drove on steadily and strongly without a worry. That's the car. The road is a completely different story. It was mad. It had gradients that were jumping 30 to 40 feet at every hairpin, and the track was barely enough for one car, let alone two, but it was a two-way. Petite Samantha was negotiating this hairy road with authority like a seasoned driver. Heel toe at hairpins, revs up as she slotted it into first, which is way up to the left. In the other car, Shapur was itching to change over, especially since the road was getting dangerously narrow to drive on. At the first stop, he was happy to hand over the wheel of the new Discovery and jump into the lightweight. And he had something else up his sleeve too. Wow, what a contrast coming into this car from there. You suddenly realize how refined engines have become. This seems like it's sort of gliding up this mountain, effortless, silent. No large revs, no second gear, and full leg throttle down. This is just doing it with such ease. It made me realize how far automotive technology has advanced, how much electronics help make driving so easy. More than that, how much more comfortable cars have become. However, the easy bit was limited to the inside. But I do realize the width of this car, especially when I have to pass something by. It makes me realize how large this really is. The road to Sandakphu is challenging, to put it mildly. And sitting here behind the wheel had made me realize how Samantha had made this absolutely absurd road look easy, but it wasn't. Passing other cars was hair-raising, and at times it was millimeters to the rock face and tires half off the edge. I'm getting used to using the drive assist system, which actually works brilliantly on these narrow sections to let me know exactly where my tires are. Even with all that, I was crawling through spaces that made this car feel like an elephant in an alley. Rocks hanging out, gradients where the top of the road was in my sun visor, and loose surfaces and mossy sections. This is definitely going to have to do some three-point turns. To top it all, we had rain. Sharper in the other car was up to his tricks and had convinced Samantha to allow him to take the wheel, for a short while at least.
So I've just got behind the wheel of this lightweight, and honestly, it's a struggle to both see the road and for my legs to fit on this. I'm always worried I won't be able to make the brakes or the clutch when you need it. And it's the little things. The manner in which the Landy hops over some of the bumps, the snick of the gearbox. It's like meeting an old friend again. Now the Series 1 Land Rover was built by the head of the Rover company because he wanted to get rid of his old CJ, his Jeep. So, of course, off-roading started with the Jeep, but then Rover said we can do it better. They built a stouter, stronger chassis. They used a torquier engine, they used a smoother torquier engine, and just to keep it light, they made the body out of aluminium. What's great is that the torquey engine responds well. In fact, maximum torque comes in at just 1500 RPM, and as a result, the lightweight pulls up the incline almost with ease. As you can see, in low, in third, just climbing beautifully, and that's the appeal of this engine. Loads and loads of torque. Now, difficult to find gears are a regular feature on old British cars, and second gear as a result is proving to be extremely difficult. So tough, in fact, I feel it's, well, just disappeared, gone away completely. But finally, after what feels like 35 unsuccessful attempts, yes, it slots in. What also needs considerable strength is the unassisted steering. Heavy, slow, and not too dissimilar from that of a tugboat, it makes a lightweight feel like it weighs 3 tons. And the problem here on these Ghat roads is that you need to go from left lock to right lock every few seconds. Just to think that this car is as old as me, 1971, and it's been given quite a hammering all these years over these roads, and it's still holding up. But these things are so hardy, they just keep to go on and on and on.
Soon enough, Samantha wanted the wheel back as the road was going to get even worse, and we stopped for a quick changeover. This road is absolutely insane. It's crazy. It's absurd. I'm watching Samantha and you in front. She's just like squeezing past everything and going like it's like, you know, everyday normal. And I'm like watching the corners, edges, tires.
Can you see the elevation? Look, my feet are at this level, at the height of my head, and it's only 10 meters away.
And I think we have 15 more kilometers. And as I've been told, it gets even worse, even hairy, even tighter, and the road gets worse. Smartly, I handed the wheel back to Sharper to do the tightest section.
So we're around 5 kilometers from Sandak Phu, which, believe it or not, is probably the maddest place in the world to take a car. And I'm back in the Discovery now, and it just feels so much bigger. And although the Land Rover, the lightweight, was very difficult to get the clutch working properly for me because I had to compress my leg and drive it. This one, the challenge is quite different. It's about the size.
Words fail me to describe what this road is like, and what a birthday party it had been. Fantastic. But I was glad to finally be on top. You know, it's only when I hopped between the two cars, because we were going, I was sitting with Samantha for some time, and then I drove the Discovery for a while, and then you drove the Discovery and I was there. So we were going back and forth between the cars, and I tell you, that's when I realized heritage. It's all there in both these cars. Yes, that one's raw. This one has all the aids and assists and does everything in a far more refined, smooth, easy manner. But you just see that heritage. I mean, both of them make something like this seem so dismissible. And you have the confidence, it just feels so strong, so secure.
Apart from the fact that the clutch was here and the brake was here and I had to drive like this, car was absolutely, it was doing it effortlessly. You know, of course, you had to make a bit of effort, fine second. You know, I've never experienced something like this. This kind of, you know, I've been used to this, and you know, honestly, when you do this for the first time, and you have to reverse for a U-turn at this angle, and the car's like
pretty much no road beneath
absolutely.
you as well,
This is a crazy
drops
road.
on either side.
Yeah.
Guys, if you haven't done this drive, I have to tell you, it is worth coming out to this part of the country and driving this road from Chamong to Sandakphu, which is what we've done today.
It's a motoring experience in India you just can't miss.